Hello, good afternoon. I just posted something on physiological jaundice. I took it as also one of the important things because most of the times when these women are on the wards after delivery and when they see these things, it's especially with our first time mothers, it becomes quite alarming, and then there is a kind of anxiety in these mothers. So I just wanted to put across that message for people to understand what physiological jaundice, just to allay fears and anxiety. Though we have other factors that may cause the breakdown of red blood cells in the baby, but pertaining to physiological jaundice, it is something that is not supposed to be alarming. It is something that when it happens, it doesn't cause any disease condition in the neonates or in the babies. What mostly happens is that when the baby is born, when the baby is in utero, even before that, when baby is in utero, before baby is born, it depends on its mother. That is where nutrients and everything passes through the placenta. So the placenta is the bond between the mother and the baby in utero. So even with respiration, every other activity, excretion, everything is done by the placenta. The baby does not really partake in all these activities. It is in a way, I would say in a way, it is in a dormant position. Though it's a baby, or I'll say it's a living thing, but it's the placenta that does everything for the baby in utero. Now, when this baby comes out of the mother's uterus, or when it's born on this planet, it is now an individual on its own. So as soon as baby and mother is separated, naturally or physiologically, it needs to adjust to its environment so that it can be able to survive extrauterine life. That is how simple I can put it. It can be able to survive extrauterine life. It can be able to live on its own as a human being. Now it doesn't depend on the mother anymore. Yes. So right now, when it does that, when baby is in utero, due to the mother's nutrition and everything, baby has high amounts of hemoglobin in the system. So with this, when the baby is born, naturally it's supposed to adjust itself. It's supposed to adjust itself physiologically in order to survive extrauterine life. That is what it does. Now, when it does that, it begins to break down these red blood cells, and when it breaks down the red blood cells, it leaves a byproduct, which is the bilirubin. Ideally, the liver is supposed to release an enzyme called glucuronal transferase. This glucuronal transferase is supposed to act on this bile product or the bilirubin to make it water soluble for it to be excreted out of the body. But with this neonate, their liver is immatured, and due to immaturity, less amount or not enough glucuronal transferase is released. And when it does that, most of these byproducts are not being able to be excreted out of the body easily. And when it does that, you realize that it leaves these bilirubin in the system, which causes the baby's eyes to be yellow, the skin to be yellow. But when a mother starts breastfeeding, that's why as soon as baby is born, we put the baby on the mother so that baby will start breastfeeding. So when lactation is established, and where breast milk starts coming, this breast milk, what it does is that it helps the baby system to excrete this bile pigment or these green things or this bilirubin out of its system. That is why when a newborn baby is born, you see this green stool coming out. That is the byproduct, the bilirubin coming out of the baby's system. And that's why we encourage you, the mother, to breastfeed well. So the more you breastfeed well, the more all these bile pigments will be excreted out of the baby's body. And after some time, you realize that the baby's stool color changes to normal. Baby won't become jaundiced. But in a situation whereby baby is introduced to artificial feeds on time or at an early stage, these artificial feeds cannot do the action of the natural breast milk, which God in his own way and design has given to us to help to excrete all these things. So when it does that, such babies are at risk of getting physiological jaundice. Babies who are exposed to physiological jaundice undergo a therapy we call phototherapy, where we use light to help the baby to break down this bilirubin out of its system. And as a mother, if you don't breastfeed on demand, you may end up being discharged, but your baby will not be discharged because your baby will have to be monitored at the pediatric unit. And instead of you going home for you to recover fully, then that means you have to stay with your child. Sometimes you have to be hospitalized for long, and it causes a whole lot of psychological, emotional, physiological instability for the mother, because you are thinking about your baby, you are thinking about yourself as well. Bear in mind that as soon as you deliver, you have to also, you will experience what we call after pain. And if care is not taken, you may even have other conditions like sub-involution, where the uterus may not go back to normal. You may even have complications, especially if you've undergone cesarean section, where you have to be getting up to go and see your baby, to breastfeed the baby, all that stress. So as mothers, to avoid all these stresses, let's encourage each other to breastfeed. Don't say the breast milk is not coming, because the breast milk is just like a well. The more you fetch the water, the more the water comes. So the more you are positioned and attach your baby to the breast, the more signals will be sent to the brain, the more prolactin will be released, and the more breast milk that will flow. That is the norm. So continue to breastfeed. The first day, what will come is the a yellowish fluid from the breast. That one is enough to survive the baby for like 3 days. So don't say your breast milk, like what most mothers will say, me midwife, me and all that. It will come. It is kakra, gradual. It doesn't come poof, especially with primates. It takes time. It comes in bits, in little bits. But no matter what, the more you position your baby to the breast, the more breast milk will come. Gradually, it will not flow. So with this information, I just want to pass this message across to encourage mothers. If not, we may end up having babies with this physiological jaundice. Okay, thank you.